It's a very short webinar today, so just 15 minutes, just a little bite-sized daily dose of webinars from us. It's me, Mary. If you don't know me, I've been working at Aventido for 4 years now, and we're doing a little webinar series starting today, all week. So you've got me and Michelle Monday to Thursday, and then Rosie is taking my place on Friday. So yes, so over to you, Michelle.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michelle Power and I'm the Education Community and Partnerships Manager here at Aventido. I'm new to Aventido, joined in June 2025, and prior to that, I've worked in the DSA sector going back to 2014 and previously in higher education. So I'm just going to sort of set the scene. As Mary said, this is a webinar series from Monday to Friday. And the series this week, it's really aimed at confidently matching our tools and our solutions to the real world challenges that are faced by DSA students. So the personas that you'll meet along the way this week, they represent real students, fictional, but very realistic profiles that reflect, I suppose, real world user groups. So throughout the series, what we'll do is we'll walk through each persona's scenario, and then we will aim to demonstrate how our products will support an individual's specific goals. And then we'll match the disability related challenges with the tools from Aventido that genuinely support student success. We're very much aware that there are other AT software packages, but at Aventido, we're really in a unique position in that we have, such a broad range of technology to support a wide variety of study-related needs. So we'll bring our products to life during this series and take a look at how these packages can also work together. Today, what we're going to do is take you through 3 different approaches for Sarah. And I suppose it's worth mentioning as well that this isn't an exhaustive or a prescriptive set of recommendations. What it will do is rather it illustrates how students with the same condition can present differently, and with our ecosystem of tools, how it's possible to create targeted, person-centered recommendations in line with all of that existing guidance from the different funding bodies. So I suppose essentially when our AT tools are used in combination, they don't just address one study related problem, but what they do, I like to think of it, is that they wrap around the individual to support their broader experience. And then in that way, they go on to make learning more accessible, more efficient, they can empower the individual and ultimately remove those study related barriers. So now I'll hand you over to Mary, who will walk you through each scenario for Sarah.
Fab. Thank you, Michelle. So let's take a look at Sarah, our first persona we're going to take a look at this week. Just going to share my screen. So, oh, that isn't Sarah. Just a moment.
That's Ben. He'll be joining
That
us
is
tomorrow.
Ben. Yes, Ben. Yes, Ben's not with us yet. Right. Here we go. So, we shall move on. Find Sarah. So here she is, Sarah. She's 21 and she has dyscalculia. So we're looking at her needs and what's going to help her as a student who she's studying business and marketing. It's really important to know what the student's studying, because they'll be doing different things at university, won't they? They won't, or not every student does the same things, has to study in a particular way. So it's really important to have that information and the different teaching methods she's going to experience, and the sort of things she's going to be doing at university. And it's so important. Well, I wouldn't know because I've not been an assessor, but Michelle has met so many years. When you're talking to students, is it like in that assessment, it's so important to get as much information as you can from them, just to sort of match the AT appropriately. You can't really copy and paste for everyone. Everyone's different. Even if they have the same disability, they're going to be different, have different struggles, because everything varies from one person to another. But also, it's their style of learning as well. They might say, no, that's not going to work for me. So it's really important that you ask lots of questions, of course, and really customize their AT for them. So Sarah, she struggles with interpreting numbers because she has dyscalculia, but that's not always the main problem with dyscalculia. It's often to do with sequencing and organizing yourself, and using logic and things like that. Now, so she finds it difficult following formulas and organizing data in spreadsheets. Problems with the referencing as well. Even though referencing is to do with text, she, because of her dyscalculia, she finds that very difficult to reference and navigate issues, tracking while she's reading as well. And then she also difficulties with sequencing, like I was mentioning, with dyscalculia, and structuring her writing. So most people automatically think, oh, dyscalculia, that's just about numbers. Well, realistically, if you've got dyscalculia, you're not going to be studying maths, a heavy maths course, are you? You're going to steer away from that. But then subjects like business and marketing still got to come across numbers in different ways. A lot of data there in that type of course. So she does need a bit of help with her studies. Time also is a difficulty with many people with dyscalculia, so they need a bit of help with organising their time at university, and doing presentations. Knowing how much time has passed in a presentation is difficult, including this one, hey, because it's very short. And so, yeah, Sarah needs a bit of help. So what would we recommend? So Michelle has had a think about Sarah and imagined having a needs assessment with her. And we've taken a look at the different areas of her studies and which assistive technology would be a sensible recommendation. So I'm showing now all the assistive tech that we think that Sarah would really benefit from, but that would be really quite silly to recommend everything. She's got a limited amount of time. She really needs to focus on the key challenges she has, rather than go, here's all this AT, yeah, you can use it, have some training, and then you'll be really successful. You can't be using like 10 different types of assistive technology. You're not going to use any of it really effectively. So we thought, well, we'll look at 3 options for Sarah, depending on what her most difficult areas of study are, what her key challenges are. So let's move on to the first option for Sarah. So I've put like a blue box around the AT that we think would be really a suitable combination of AT, because they work very well together, and it's really going to address specifically her challenges with reading, writing, and referencing. So of course, research and referencing is an actual section of the different areas of study. So for research and referencing, Pro Study stood out straight away because it magically does the referencing, collects all the referencing when Sarah's researching for assignments and projects. It's going to collect it all together and organize it all. It's also going to put the referencing in and really help at the end of her collecting all the information, really help her structure her writing of essays. And because she has difficulty with tracking as she's reading, text aid is going to help with that, as it will read the text aloud while she's listening. Even though she doesn't have difficulty with reading and fluency, it's the tracking side of things that text aid will really help her with as well. So So that's a researching and referencing side of things. And then when it comes to writing the assignments, Pro Study and Text Aid will also help her with that, and with the referencing side of things, and also proofreading to make sure she's happy with how it's written and she can listen to it. But also we've got Dragon and MindMeister there. Dragon, so that she can speak and do the writing in that way instead of having to type, because that's going to save time. And then MindMeister for the planning side of things, so she can visually see what she's going to write and how she's going to structure her essay. So it's really going to help her with the sequencing of ideas that she has difficulty with because of her dyscalculia. Moving on, there's time management difficulties, and Dragon is so much quicker than writing, than typing. So she's going to save a bit of time if she speaks rather than types. So Dragon would really work, and because it is also going to help her with her written work, that's great because it's being useful in many areas of her study. And another piece of AT is Likey that helps with time management because it saves time. It predicts up to 15 words at a time. So Sarah won't have to do so many keystrokes, and she will be able to not have to think about finding the right words, because it will learn from her style of writing and really help with composition. And then moving on to presentations, MindMeister is going to really help with that. You can use presentation mode in MindMeister. So when she's structured a presentation she needs to do, she's a bit nervous and a bit worried about pacing and things like that, she can use MindMeister in presentation mode, which will structure her presentation automatically as she goes through each idea. So that's for presentations. Finally, with the group projects, well, that is also with the presentations. Dragon, she can speak as if she's doing the presentation, and then she's got a written copy of it that she can take a look at to help with structure and editing in that way. And so that she can become confident, she will obviously have some time with an AT trainer to get to learn about this AT and get the most out of it. But then maybe the time will run out, or she might need a little bit of help or a reminder of how to use different bits of this tech. And she can use iView Learning as a 24/7 access to short videos to help her get the most out of her AT. So that's option A, which I took a while to do, didn't I, Michelle? And that would be if reading, writing, and referencing were specific challenges. It doesn't mean that she doesn't have challenges in other areas. It's just they're more important for her to have some support with. We're now going to move on to option B, which is if planning and time management were more of a difficulty. So we've of course gone for the MindMeister tasks, because that's going to really organize her. She can have different projects on the go in Meister Task, and even have them connected to her calendar, so she's going to remember to do things. She's going to pace her work appropriately. And with Learnable, we've got Learnable in there to help her, because she can upload the content that she needs to learn and become confident and knowledgeable about, put it all into Learnable in different subjects, and then she's got it all in one place, and then she can learn that using a wide range of different learning methods. So Learnable is a really great way of keeping on top of your studies. So it is to do with planning and time management, because she won't feel overwhelmed when it gets to writing an essay or doing an exam, because she's always been uploading things into Learnable and learning in that way. It's not everything all last minute before her exam. So that's Learnable, and the scan marker pen, because that's a physical item. She can use it for, of course, having things read aloud. But I think with Sarah, it's being able to record audio on it as well. Is that what your thoughts were, Michelle? With
Yeah, absolutely. And Yeah, and as we said at the beginning as well, these are just scenarios that we've come up with. The idea here is obviously guided by the student to sort of mix and match the technology, even outside of the three scenarios that we've given you today. Obviously as well in line with, the guidance, say, from Student Loans Company, where they're very hot on not over recommending software. So bearing all of the guidance in mind, look at these things as a kind of a cohesive system rather than supporting one area of study or one area in that needs assessment report.
Yeah, because you might say, "Oh no, Michelle,
That like
mind
that.
mapping is not for me. That doesn't work for me."
Yeah,
It's not, well, then it's like that's no problem. We can take a look at what else you can use. It's like you have to be sort of really reflective on what the student's saying. Really, yeah, I think so. Let's look at option C, the final option, and that is if it was note taking that was the biggest difficulty she was finding with her studies, and that would be Ivy Notes. Ivy Notes records lectures, meetings as well, any audio, and or even a document. You can upload it, and it uses that content, whether it's a recording, an audio recording, or some text, and it makes that content into a mind map. So it splits it into the different sections of the lecture, for example, and then Sarah will have the full content. She can listen back to little bits, but she doesn't have to listen back to it all, which would take ages. And then she can really see the big picture and then the details, zooming into the details if she needs to. So it's really going to help her with structuring and organizing in her mind what that lecture was about, and that's going to help her with learning, isn't it? So there's Ivy Notes, and then OM System is a physical audio recorder, which she could also use for recording. Michelle, why would you use both? Why would you recommend both for Sarah, the Ivy Notes and the OM Systems?
you would want to justify that, appropriately with whichever funding body it was. But the OM systems, which is the old Olympus digital voice recorder, very helpful for practical situations. Students maybe who are doing social care and have a lot of reflective practice. Sometimes a digital voice recorder is a more appropriate solution. Sometimes it's possible to recommend Ivy Notes alongside if you want to use Ivy Notes to maybe collate that information alongside, some of the essay content that you're gathering as well. So you could justify Ivy Notes to help more with the composition or the writing element of things. With the OM system, you might want to transcribe that audio and then add it in to your writing tasks.
Great. Yeah, that was yeah, that's really explained it. Yeah, because of course you might not want your full laptop there recording with Ivy knows you might be out and about and you
Out
just
and
want the
about,
audio
yeah,
recording, then use that
absolutely.
in Ivy. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
very true.
And sometimes
Um,
just for security and things or confidentiality,
yeah,
a digital voice recorder might be a more appropriate solution. If you're making, say case notes or things like that, which are quite confidential. Some students, I think social care is probably a good example, or maybe law, where you
yeah,
might want to use a digital voice recorder rather than a phone or a laptop for recording.
yeah, yeah, that's a
And
good
again,
point.
field trips, very practical things where you're actually out in the field. A digital voice recorder might be more appropriate.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, and then we do have Learnable again. Putting lecture notes into Learnable, ready to learn in lots of different styles, that's going to be really effective for Sarah. So because there's no point in like attending a lecture and then not learning from it. You've got to do something with that knowledge. So putting it into Learnable to learn in many different ways, it's going to work
Absolutely. You'd
really
almost
well.
see Learnable, wouldn't you, and iView Learning as, tools that are great all-rounders. iView
Yes,
Learning supports your use of the AT software that's recommended and then Learnable to kind of funnel and channel that learning.
yes, yeah, perfect. And that's the third option for Sarah. So hopefully that's really giving you a bit of insight into the assistive tech at Aventido, but how looking at one specific person, and how it's not like a, oh, you've got dyscalculia, you have these things. It all depends on how they learn and what they think is going to work for them, and their key challenges, which areas are like most difficult for them. So we'll be back again tomorrow, won't we, Michelle?
Back tomorrow with Ben.
Yes, with Ben. Should we have a sneak peek at what Ben?
Let's have a sneak preview of Ben.
Oh, he's got an acquired brain injury, and he's studying history. So we'll take a look at the tech that would really help Ben with his studies. So hopefully you can all join us tomorrow for day 2. And thank you very much for your time. We've got